You wake to the soft, steady sound of water dripping onto a wooden roof. The air inside your small room is cold, carrying the faint scent of tatami, the dry straw that covers the floor. Your eyes are still heavy, and for a moment you can't remember where you are. Outside, a distant chorus of crows echoes through the hills, while the morning wind gently stirs the paper walls of your room. You rise slowly, feeling the floor bend ever so slightly under your weight. Sliding open the door, a thin beam of golden light spills in, revealing a silent garden. Small, neatly trimmed tea bushes line a moss-covered stone path. Beyond them, a blanket of mist drapes over part of the village, hiding the neighboring houses. The world feels still, yet there's a weight in the air, as if every movement, every breath has already been given a purpose. You can't quite explain it, but everything around you seems to follow an invisible rhythm. The few people already awake move calmly, almost in silence, as though careful not to disturb something sacred. There is no rush, but neither is there room for distraction. An older man, carrying 2 buckets of water on a wooden yoke, passes by and gives you a brief bow before continuing on his way. The sound of light footsteps on the wooden floor behind you draws your attention. It's your mother, or someone who has always been mother to you, wearing a simple cotton kimono. She says nothing, only hands you a bowl of steaming rice and a small piece of grilled fish. You notice there are no utensils, just a pair of worn chopsticks. It isn't a feast, it's simply enough. Here, eating is less about satisfying hunger and more about respecting the food. After the meal, you step onto the veranda. The dirt road leading into the village is marked with fresh footprints. Ahead, a simple wooden gate opens to a small market. But unlike the noisy markets you may have imagined, here there are only murmurs. The loudest sound is that of a distant bell ringing from some hidden temple among the trees. Everyone wears muted colors, brown, gray, deep blue, as if the land itself dictates the palette aloud. Even the houses follow the same pattern: thatched or dark-tiled roofs, wooden walls, sliding paper doors. Everything repeats, yet in a way that feels harmonious, almost meditative. As you walk, you see the village surrounded by rice fields, mirroring the overcast sky. Narrow channels of water snake between the paddies, fed by a stream flowing from the mountains beyond. Further ahead, the road vanishes into a dense forest of cedars and bamboo, towering like green walls. You feel cut off from the rest of the world, not just physically, but in some deeper way. There's an unspoken boundary, an invisible rule that keeps everyone here in and everything else out. No one talks about going beyond the mountains, as if whatever lies outside is irrelevant or perhaps forbidden. Time moves differently here. Days start early, before sunrise, and end early too, when the light fades behind the mountains. There are no lamps or streetlights, only paper lanterns lit by hand. And at night, silence takes over completely, broken only by the faint sound of a shamisen being played somewhere in the village. You don't know the name of this place, but you can feel it holds hidden stories. There's a delicate balance between beauty and rigidity, between peace and tension. Something tells you that if you were to break a rule, even unknowingly, the consequences would be severe. Yet despite it all, there's a certain allure to this world. The air is clean, the food is fresh, and people treat each other with a quiet respect you're not used to. Even without much conversation, there's a sense of community, as if everyone is part of the same body, living not for themselves, but for the preservation of a greater order. But at the same time, you sense this order isn't maintained solely by tradition or respect. It's also upheld by something else, something unseen yet felt. A distant authority, invisible in daily life, but present in every decision, every gesture, every glance. Suddenly, the sound of drums echoes from the center of the village. People stop what they're doing and turn their heads in unison. Some begin walking, others kneel on the spot as if awaiting something. You follow the flow, still unsure why. When you arrive at the central square, you see a small group of men in more elaborate kimonos, carrying flags with symbols you don't recognize. They speak little, but their voices are firm, and every word seems to carry a weight everyone understands. A message is read aloud, and by the absolute silence around you, you know it's no trivial matter. The men leave as quickly as they came, murmurs slowing return, but no one seems willing to openly discuss what was said. Still, the air holds the feeling that something greater is at play. You can't help but wonder, what is this land? Who truly rules here? And why does everyone live under such precise, unquestioned rules? The world you awaken to is closed off, as if you lived inside a carefully sealed shell. No foreigners cross the streets. No foreign tongues mingle with the sounds of the vendors. Only the calm, measured cadence of the local language, repeated generation after generation. You are at the heart of a Japan that has chosen to isolate itself from the rest of the world. The year is 1650, though you wouldn't know it, for time here is measured not only in years, but in eras named after emperors and shoguns. You are in the Edo period, also called Tokugawa. For decades, the shogunate has enforced the policy of sakoku, literally closed country, forbidding the entry and exit of foreigners and punishing anyone who attempts to breach this invisible barrier. It is like living inside a vast walled garden, safe but unreachable from the outside world. The city where you live hums with an almost choreographed order. Wooden houses, lined like soldiers, display slightly curved roofs. Sliding doors made of wood and translucent paper let in a soft light, painting interiors with golden hues in the morning and copper tones in the evening. The streets are narrow, paved with packed earth, and each step raises tiny particles that dance in the air before settling again. Power does not lie in the hands of the emperor, at least not practically. He resides far away, in Kyoto, as a sacred and symbolic figure. The true authority is the shogun, based in Edo, the city that will one day be known as Tokyo. Under his rule, the country enjoys peace, a peace maintained by strict social rules and the sword of the samurai. From an early age, you notice that people move according to their place in the social hierarchy. At the top are the samurai, warriors serving feudal lords known as daimyo. Below them are the peasants, responsible for growing rice, the foundation not only of sustenance, but of the economy. Next come the artisans, shaping wood, iron, and ceramics into tools and works of art. Finally, the merchants, looked down upon as producing nothing, though many end up wealthier than some samurai. This social structure is not just custom, it is law. Moving between classes is nearly impossible, and your place determines how you dress, where you may go, what you eat, and even how you speak. Control is so thorough that even travel is monitored. To journey from one province to another, you must carry stamped permits, and checkpoints along the roads verify your right to pass. Despite this rigidity, life in the cities thrives with culture and discipline. You hear of kabuki, the popular theater that fills nights with dramatic stories and extravagant costumes. There is also bunraku, puppet theater, where manipulators bring figures so expressive they seem alive. In quieter seasons, temples welcome pilgrims and monks, and the distant sound of the shamisen, a three-stringed instrument, mingles with the wind swaying paper lanterns along the streets. Yet, beneath this tranquility, tensions remain. The sword, though rarely drawn, is still sharp. Feudal lords must spend part of the year in Edo under the shogun's watch, in a system called sankin kotai. Their families remain in the capital as guarantees of loyalty.
Peace here is built on vigilance and political strategy, and even a rumor can stir calm waters into turbulence. You also begin to perceive the deep contrasts beneath the surface of order. Peasants live at the mercy of the harvest. A bad year means famine. Artisans take pride in their skill, yet depend on the whims of wealthy clients. Merchants accumulate fortune, but must hide their opulence to avoid envy or retribution. Even samurai, once feared warriors, confront the dilemma of life in peace. Many become bureaucrats, handling documents instead of battlefields. The seasons dictate the rhythm of life. Early spring brings cherry blossoms, painting everything pale pink, and people go out to admire the fleeting beauty of the petals. Summer is heavy and humid, with festivals lighting the nights with fireworks. Autumn brings red and golden leaves, and winter drives families indoors against the cold, warmed by kotatsu, low tables with blankets and hot coals. Though surrounded by tradition, there is room for novelty, albeit filtered. Small foreign influences arrive discreetly through the port of Nagasaki, the only point of contact with the outside world, open only to Chinese and Dutch traders. There, hidden among fabrics and spices, ideas and inventions cross oceans. For you, these are nearly legendary. The world across the sea feels as distant as the spirits told in elder stories on winter nights. Your life unfolds in this balance of order and restriction, beauty and vigilance. Every gesture you observe, the bow of a vendor, the posture of a samurai walking with a hand on the hilt of the sword, the careful serving of tea, seems governed by an invisible code. Here, nothing is accidental. And though you may not yet realize it, living in this Japan is like walking across a carefully woven tatami mat, firm yet confined within the boundaries of paper walls. The world outside may be changing, but inside, time moves to its own rhythm, measured by distant footsteps on gravel and the soft echo of gongs in the temples. This is your home. This is your era. And for now, there is nowhere else to go.
The sun has barely crested the horizon, yet there is already movement around you. You wake in the gentle warmth of a futon, folded and stored each morning to free up the room. The smell of the tatami, woven straw, mingles with the aroma of green tea already brewing in the kitchen. The day begins early here, not out of haste, but because sunlight dictates the rhythm of life. As you slide open the paper door, the first thing you notice is the cool breeze carrying the distant sound of footsteps on gravel. A samurai passes along the street, wearing a simple kimono with two swords at his side, the long katana and the short wakizashi. He does not look directly at you. Etiquette demands avoiding prolonged eye contact with those higher in the hierarchy. Your family lives modestly. The house is small, built of wood and paper, with only two main rooms. Furniture is minimal, a low table, a few cushions, shelves holding ceramic bowls and pots. Scrolls with calligraphy, poems or proverbs hang on the walls, and occasionally a monochrome painting of misty mountains. Early in the morning, breakfast is served. Freshly cooked white rice, miso soup with tofu and seaweed, and a few pickled vegetables. The meal is quiet, interrupted only by the sound of chopsticks against bowls. Eating is not a time for loud conversation, but for attention and gratitude. After breakfast, you go out for your tasks. Depending on your social class, your day takes very different shapes. Here, we follow the routine of an artisan, someone who shapes wood and bamboo into furniture, boxes, and decorative pieces for temples. Your workshop is just a few streets away, open to the street as an extension of the trade. Work begins by sharpening tools. The sound of the blade scraping the whetstone mixes with the murmur of other artisans and the distant calls of street vendors. Each cut in the wood must be precise, not only for aesthetics, but because the client values perfection. Time is not measured in hours, but in care. Sometimes a simple chest can take days to complete. While you work, you hear rumors brought by customers. Some speak of the latest kabuki performances in Edo. Others quietly mention a province suffering from poor harvests. There is always the sense that speaking too much can be dangerous. Words spoken to the wrong person can bring trouble with the authorities. In mid-morning, a group of children runs past, laughing loudly, on their way to a Terakoya school run by monks. There they learn to read, write, and do arithmetic, skills that will open doors within the rigid social structure. You remember attending these classes yourself, copying kanji with brush and ink, seated on the cold floor. Lunch comes in silence. You return home to find your mother serving rice with grilled fish. The fish is simple, seasoned only with salt, yet its flavor is intense. Eating fresh fish is not a daily privilege. It depends on deliveries from coastal villages. In the afternoon, work continues, but the rhythm changes. The sun warms the air and the breeze carries the smell of hot dust. A client arrives to collect a commissioned tea box. He examines every detail, running a hand over the polish, only then handing over payment, koban coins carefully wrapped in paper. The transaction is formal, respectful, almost ritualistic. As the day draws to a close, the city transforms. Merchants close their shops, street vendors collect their baskets and trays. The smell of burning charcoal dominates the air, coming from homes where dinner is being prepared. Paper lanterns are lit, casting a warm glow over the narrow streets. At night, your family gathers around a kotatsu, the low table covered with a blanket that traps the heat of the coals. It is the most intimate moment of the day. Someone may tell old stories of honored samurai or vengeful spirits, while tea is poured into small, handleless cups. Occasionally, you accompany neighbors to a nearby temple. Bells echo in the darkness, and the scent of incense fills the courtyard. Offerings are made in silence. Coins dropped into a wooden box, 2 rhythmic claps, a slight bow before the altar. Everyday life here is marked by repetition, and it is within this repetition that safety lies, knowing that tomorrow will, for the most part, resemble today. Yet beneath this stability, you feel something, a quiet curiosity about what exists beyond the invisible walls surrounding Japan, a curiosity that, though forbidden, is impossible to fully extinguish. This is your world, limited, orderly, beautiful, and restrictive. A place where every gesture and every word carries the weight of centuries of tradition. The apparent tranquility of your world begins to unravel in small, almost imperceptible ways. It's as if the routine, once solid and reliable, is starting to crack at the edges. You notice it first in the glances people cast. Those who once greeted you with a slight nod now quickly look away. Conversations stop when you approach. It all begins with rumors of a foreign ship seen near the coast, to the south. The elders speak with concern, recalling the Bakufu's orders to drive away any unauthorized vessels. The laws are clear. Japan is closed to the outside world. Foreigners are not welcome, and any contact with them is a serious crime. Yet, strangely, no one seems to know exactly how or why this ship managed to come so close. In the workshop, customers comment on unusual movements by samurai around the city. More guards, more inspections, questions about families, travels, and businesses. A merchant's wife confides that her husband was interrogated for buying fabrics of dubious origin. He swore they were Japanese, but the fiber patterns seemed too Western to go unnoticed. You feel the tension rise when a Bakufu officer appears in the main street, reading a new decree aloud. Any citizen found in contact with foreigners, directly or indirectly, will be severely punished. All information regarding the movement of non-Japanese ships must be reported immediately to the authorities. The crowd listens in silence. There is no applause, no jeering, just the dry sound of footsteps retreating after the announcement. In the following days, more news arrives. The ship, they say, is not just a merchant vessel, but possibly a military expedition. Others claim it carries Christian missionaries trying to spread forbidden ideas. You have never seen a foreigner, but stories circulate about strange clothes, light hair, and eyes of unusual colors. Always told as warnings, these tales now gain more weight. One event breaks the monotony more directly. On an ordinary morning, two samurai enter your workshop. They are not there to buy anything. One inspects the shelves, the other asks rapid questions. Have you seen anything unusual in the past days? Any strange traveler? No, sir, you reply, keeping your voice calm. They do not seem convinced. One notices a small box you were finishing, made from a lighter wood. You explain it came from a nearby village, but you realize they are taking note. Before leaving, the elder fixes his eyes on you. If you know anything at all, come to us. Their visit leaves a weight in the air. You know that even though without doing anything wrong, you are now on a list of people to watch. The nights feel different. Conversations around the kotatsu now avoid certain topics. The distant sound of warning drums echoes occasionally from the direction of the port. You sense that something significant is about to happen, and that your life, once predictable, may be about to change forever. The conflict takes shape when a childhood friend, now working as a fisherman, shows up at your house in the middle of the night. He is sweating, breathing fast. I saw it, he whispers, with my own eyes, a foreign ship, huge, and a man with hair like gold. They spoke to me, but I couldn't understand a word. You tell him to speak quietly. Your mother looks frightened. He says he hasn't told anyone else, but needed to confide in someone he trusts. Then he adds, I think they need help. They were gesturing, seemed lost. From that moment, you find yourself torn. On one hand, loyalty to the Bakufu and its rules. On the other, curiosity and perhaps even compassion for people who, though different, seem to be in distress. Any misstep could mean severe punishment, yet ignoring what is happening also means closing your eyes to something greater. Tension rises further when news comes that some fishermen have disappeared. Officials say they were taken by the sea, but whispers suggest they were captured by the foreigners. Others claim they were imprisoned for collaborating. The Kabuki theater in the city, once vibrant, now stages plays with patriotic themes, reinforcing the importance of keeping Japan pure and protected. It is impossible not to notice the underlying message. Any sympathy for foreigners is treason. Deep down, you realize the conflict is not just about ships and borders. It is a clash of worlds, the known and the unknown, tradition and the risk of change. And somehow you are being drawn into the center of this collision. What was once merely routine is now unstable ground. Every word can be dangerous. Every choice can have irreversible consequences.
The dawn that changes everything begins with the sound of footsteps running along the narrow street. You wake even before hearing the knock at the door. Two neighbors enter hurriedly, speaking in low voices and glancing back as if expecting to be followed. One of them, the fisherman who sought you out days ago, looks pale. They're back, he says, his voice almost trembling. The foreign ship. It's closer now, and I think they're not alone. You hastily slip into your kimono and follow them to a small promontory overlooking the sea. Darkness still blankets the coast, but on the horizon there are lights. Not Japanese lanterns, nor bonfires. A cold, intermittent glow, as if coming from some kind of mechanism. The sea is calm, but the silence is heavy, almost suffocating. Suddenly, a strange sound cuts through the night. It is not the temple gong, nor the guards' drums. It is metallic, oddly rhythmic, coming from the direction of the lights. "They're calling," murmurs the fisherman. Before you can respond, another sound overlays it. Japanese drums this time, very close. A Bakufu patrol emerges along the coastal road, torches lit, swords drawn. The commander shouts for everyone to step back and return home. But curiosity outweighs fear. You take a few steps back, but keep watching, hidden among the rocks. The patrol advances to the beach. For a moment, everything freezes. Then, a small boat approaches the shore, rowed by figures who, even in the dim light, are clearly distinguishable from the Japanese. One of them raises something. It seems to be a white flag. The tension is unbearable. The samurai do not attack immediately. They observe, exchanging quick words among themselves. Perhaps they are waiting for orders. Perhaps they are unsure. The fisherman beside you takes a deep breath. "I'll speak to them." "You'll be arrested, or worse." "If not me, then who?" And before you can stop him, he is already descending the slope, waving toward the boat. What happens next seems to last an eternity. The foreigners notice the gesture and respond in kind. Strange words echo across the beach. One of the samurai steps forward, pointing his sword at the fisherman. The commander shouts something, but the wind carries away part of the words. Then, suddenly, a flash comes from the ship on the horizon. It is not ordinary fire. It is as if the sky itself has split for a moment. A roar follows seconds later, and the entire beach is filled with screams. No one is struck, at least not yet, but the message is clear. The foreigners have the power to attack. The commander retreats with his patrol, but not before arresting the fisherman. You watch helplessly as he is taken away, hands bound, disappearing into the darkness. In the following days, the city plunges into an atmosphere of absolute fear. Streets are empty, guards patrol day and night, and any conversation about the ship is forbidden. Yet you hear rumors. Some say the fisherman was taken to Edo to be interrogated by the shogun himself. Others claim he has already been executed. And you? You carry an unbearable weight in your chest. Because you know that if you had stayed distant from the beginning, he might still be free. But you also know that if you had gone with him, perhaps you could have understood what the foreigners wanted, and maybe prevented things from reaching this point. The ship disappears from the horizon as silently as it appeared. No official battle is recorded. For the Bakufu's records, nothing of significance happened. But for those who were there, the story is different. Months pass, and life seems to return to normal. Conversations regain their usual tone, the market fills with voices again, and guards reduce their presence on the streets. Yet you know the city is no longer the same. Something invisible has been planted. A doubt, a curiosity, perhaps even a desire to know more about what exists beyond the sea. At night, when the wind carries the salty scent of the coast, you remember the cold lights on the horizon, and you ask yourself, will they return? And more importantly, will you be ready to decide which side you will stand on when they do? Because deep down, you understand that it wasn't just a ship. It was a harbinger of a future Japan was not yet prepared to face, but inevitably will. And in that inevitability, you also realize part of you wants to see that future arrive, even if it means confronting the full weight of the traditions that have sustained your world until now.